Yo, welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior, and on today's rundown, we're answering your pressing 76ers questions going into the home stretch of the 2023-2024 NBA season. First, though, before we get it underway and hear from all of our real ones, if you want in on a future mailbag, number one, you have to subscribe to the channel for informative, insightful, entertaining Sixers content year-round right here on the show. And then number two, get involved on the community tab on our YouTube channel because we put out mailbag calls there. And when you see that, you get your questions in and we start to answer them. Like our guy, Reed Bartkus. He gets us started by asking this: what is the latest on the Joel Embiid injury? Now, we did talk about this earlier this week where if Daryl Morey asked the Lakers about LeBron James, called the Suns about Kevin Durant, those are all in moves. He must get the indication that maybe Joel Embiid is going to be able to return at some point this year. And there have been conflicting reports from Shams Charania, Adrian Wojnarowski on the local front. Really, the Sixers don't know what the status of Embiid's injury is until they go into the knee and they operate on the meniscus. Now, last week I was in Las Vegas on Super Bowl Radio Row, and we talked to probably the best person that you can talk to, Dr. David Chao, Pro Football Doc, about the nuances of the Embiid injury, and here's what he had to say.
I do not believe that hyperextension injury is what tore the meniscus. I think it's been coming on as he's been missing time. And at Sports Injury Central, SICScore.com, we've been saying for a while he's not going to be the MVP. He's not going to play the minimum 65 games, kind of thing. Then the announcement came from media saying there's a lateral meniscus tear, but then that got retracted and changed to lateral meniscus issue. Nuance, but it's like it feels like there's something behind the scenes there. And I was like saying, if you have a lateral meniscus issue and a previous lateral meniscus tear, whether this is a new tear or not, the bottom line is it's a matter of when, not if, he's going to have another scope. And then when the news came out, there was a displaced flap. I was like, 100% he's going to have a scope. As far as the return timeline, first, let's do the surgery and see. But the Sixers are saying a month. That's a holding pattern.
So great insight right there from Dr. David Chao. Sports Injury Central, be sure to check his content out. Obviously, Pro Football Doc used to be the head team doctor for the San Diego Chargers back in the day, but a lot of you see him on Twitter, provide some great insight on injuries, not just in the NFL, but across all major sports, and we'll just see what happens on the Embiid front. I'm not a doctor, so I throw it to Pro Football Doc. Next up, Josh Kleber with this one. Josh Kleber, 69-69. Very nice. Will this star hunting during the offseason, like the Sixers' last star hunting, be similar like it was in 2018 without any stars signed? I think the Sixers back in 2018, Josh, were in a different spot. You think about the Sixers then, they weren't a championship contender year in, year out. Joel Embiid wasn't the player then that he is now, where he's really grown upon his offensive arsenal. He's turned into an MVP. You didn't have Tyrese Maxey then. You had the fraud Ben Simmons, who was unwilling to take any jump shots. And you didn't have all the cap space that you did back then. So while the Sixers went star hunting then, it's a different situation now where the Sixers are projected to have the most cap space in the NBA going into 2024. And I think it's a more desirable spot now. You have Nick Nurse, you have Daryl Morey, respected coach, respected general manager, and you have a couple of marquee stars on this roster. Tyrese Maxey's going to get that contract extension. Joel Embiid on the books. I think they're going to be able to yield a marquee player on the Sixers roster. Will the Sixers land a star this offseason? Josh has his doubts. I don't have as many doubts. Type Y for yes, N for no. Let us know how you're feeling and join the conversation down in the comments section. Dots129, when will Kyle Lowry play? Earlier this week, he officially signed his deal. So as soon as he is acclimated, he's going to play, has that familiarity with Nick Nurse. He hasn't played in a little while because he didn't play with the Charlotte Hornets because he was waiting to get bought out. According to reports, Lowry is expected to play after the NBA All-Star break. So during the All-Star break coming up, he's going to have some time to really get up to speed with what the Sixers like to do, hopefully get back in game shape. He did play a decent amount with the Miami Heat. He made more than 30 starts with Miami this year. 28 minutes per game, 8 points per, 3.5 rebounds, 4 assists, 42.5% from the floor, and almost 39% from three-point range. I saw a lot of people saying in the comments, he can't play anymore. Well, he's not the starter and the 6-time All-Star that he once was, but 38.5% from deep, solid defense, solid offense, that'll play in a reserve role. Now, this is an interesting question. Who should be the backup point guard? We've seen Cameron Payne, more twitchy, a little bit more wiggle, younger player, or is it Kyle Lowry? Type P for Cameron Payne or L for Kyle Lowry. You're in the shoes of Nick Nurse. What would you do? We have a great deal that we want to continue to tell you about and plug here on the show. That is the Sixers hoodie. It's available, chatsports.com/Sixers hoodie. And if you use the link down below, limited time only, you can get a great deal. It is on sale from $90 to $54. Hop on board right now. Link is down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Rams fan 744. Looks like Philly stumbled across some really good players. I've been impressed with how Buddy Hield has been able to play. I think Cameron Payne has always been, since he kind of found his footing back in the NBA, a very solid backup point guard. I love what Cameron Payne was able to do on that Suns team that made it to the NBA Finals. And Buddy Hield, we've really seen him be a more complete player than what he's been given credit for. Everybody thinks of him as a shooter, as a sniper. He certainly is that with the Sixers so far. 45% from three, 52.3% from the field, but 7.5 assists per game, 22.3 points per. I think he's going to be able to cook alongside Joel Embiid because he's going to have some open shots from around the perimeter. And then Cameron Payne, he can distribute, he can create. Field goal number is not great. He's kind of a hot and cold player, and that's why he's kind of been on the move the last couple of years. Can't wait, and I want to hit on this point once again, can't wait to see Buddy Hield with Joel Embiid. The creation that Hield has, the bazooka that he has from long range, the efficiency that we've seen. Again, he's going to get some vacant looks from downtown, and I think he's going to be able to bury some triples. 7 Dust fan, my question is, who else will the Sixers sign? So already here on the show, we've talked about some 76ers buyout candidates. You can certainly look up on the channel because we put out some great content. I will say this, that the Sixers already signed Kyle Lowry in the buyout market, so they might not make another move. If they do, it could be a transaction to bring in some rebounding, some free agent targets that could help in that area. Robin Lopez, Nerlens Noel, Dwight Howard, Dwayne Dedmon, Danny Green. You have a couple of former Sixers there in Green, Dedmon, Howard, as well as Nerlens Noel. If you need rebounding specifically, they can help you out, all 5 of those players. Gilligan, if Paul George re-signs with the Clippers this summer, should we target Miles Bridges or OG Anunoby? Man, if we're going from chasing Paul George down to Miles Bridges, OG Anunoby, that would kind of be unfortunate. Now, to his credit, Miles Bridges has put up some pretty solid numbers. And look, I know he's got that baggage with the whole legal situation. He got cleared, but that is an awful Charlotte Hornets team. So the numbers here are just inflated a lot. 21.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 46.5% from the floor, 37% from three. Now, I do give him credit because he was a high flyer at Michigan State, and he's added a lot to his offensive bag, including that three-point shot. Very explosive athlete. How will he fare on a winning basketball team? Because all he's known is a dysfunctional basketball team. So maybe you settle for that. I like OG Anunoby a little bit better. I honestly think he's helped turn the Knicks now. He's injured right now with this weird elbow injury, but when he was playing, helped turn the Knicks into one of the more solid teams in the NBA, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, not a team that you want to see in the first round. High-level lockdown defense, I like him a little bit more because I think he translates more to winning basketball. Doesn't give you the points, but you don't need that with Maxey and Embiid, 15 points per, 50% from the floor, 38% from three-point range. I think both probably likely to sign with their teams. Couple of reasons. OG Anunoby already got traded to New York, and if they traded for him, they want to prioritize re-signing him. And then the Charlotte Hornets are desperate to have any type of star on that team. They might overpay Bridges to a point where that's going to scare other squads off. If you made it until the end of the video, real one, roll call. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time right here on 76ers Now.